This series can have weird moments at times which can drive people away from it. So you're trying to get into Fate, but it looks overwhelming. I'll give you what I believe is the best way to start the series, as well as reasons why you should watch the different shows. Start with Fate Stay Night, then Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, then Heaven's Feel, ending off this set with Fate Zero. This is the release order. Zero spoils a plot point from Heaven's Feel, so it should be done last. Alternatively, there is the Ufotable Anime Order, which is Fate Zero, Unlimited Blade Works, and Heaven's Feel. I'd say you should still do Zero last, but again, that's your choice. This order is good for people who care about production value in their shows, although you still should give Dean a chance at the very least. Today's menu with the Emiya family is a good next step for those who have become Fate Stay Night fans, wanting to see the characters more, as well as seeing them be happy. And you can learn some food recipes from this. It also has a game that should be coming out at some point in time in the States as well, so you should get a lot of value out of this as a whole. Extra Last Encore should be avoided if you're not familiar with the extra series of games, mainly the first game. This should be something you put on the back burner, assuming you're going to look into that. Apocrypha is a decent next step coming off of Fate Stay Night as a self-contained story, easy to understand with a familiar vibe to that of Stay Night, and it has well animated fight scenes that I'm sure you will enjoy. It stars a new cast that is much bigger than the previous one, which may be a problem, but I'll leave that up to your discretion. Fate Collide Prisma Illya centers around Illya mostly, functioning as a magical girl. This series can have weird moments at times which can drive people away from it, but you should give it a chance because it's still very story driven, just as much as everything else on this list. You'll like this series if you like Illya, the Fate Servants, and Magical Girls. Casefiles takes place in between Zero and Stay Night, starring an older Waver solving magical mysteries involving elements from the universe as a whole. It's a good way to branch out into the other Type Moon stories that aren't Fate related, and it's that nice point in between the two so you don't feel too ostracized. Grand Order has 4 animations, all based on the game's story. First Order is an alternative take on the prologue. I think it's a viable step, assuming you don't want to play the game. That can give you a good understanding of what the story is about and what direction it's going in. Lostroom links the first arc and the second arc, so you shouldn't worry about this one if you don't intend to play the game and explore the entire story as it stands. Babylone has its own story, as all singularities do, but they do have bits and pieces from the continuous story, but you shouldn't have to worry about that overall. It's pretty newcomer friendly, and you'll only be out of the loop for some aspects, but not the whole thing. The same thing should go for the Camolot movies as well. Solomon as a movie you should prepare for, considering this is the grand finale of the first arc of Fate Grand Order, and depending on the adaptation, it may be more newcomer friendly, but just to be safe, you should know what came before it. At the very least, look at some summaries and get a feel for the story to truly appreciate everything that's going to happen. I'd give the same advice for all 3 of these: Carnavel Phantasm, Prisma Phantasm, and Grand Carnavel. You should know all the series represented in these to truly appreciate the jokes and the interactions between the characters as well as the scenarios. Your experience with these may vary based on your level of familiarity with the characters as well as the works they come from represented. I hope you found this helpful. I have more videos talking about concepts, terminology, and characters in multiple playlists if you're interested in learning more about any of these things, as well as stories I haven't talked about within this video.